Hi, well, I'm here with Robert Larkman, and we've met Robert before. We know Robert, and it's great to see you. But today I wanted to sort of ask you all about Hope Central. It's Harvest Sunday, but we want to hear all about the work of Hope Central. So thanks for joining me. And the questions I sent you in advance, I'm just going to ask you. So Hope Central's been going for about 18 months now when it took over from Hampers of Hope. So what's happened in those 18 months? Where are things up to now?
Right, okay. Well, a lot's happened, as everybody knows, for other reasons, of course. But we've moved more recently. We've moved really in response to the current pandemic. We've moved the food bank into Handforth, into St Chad's Old Hall, which we're very grateful for having that facility being made available to us. And from there, we're feeding over 500 people a month.
Wow.
About half of them are children. And there's a similar operation going on over in Knutsford in partnership with the Welcome Community Cafe over there, where they're also running a Meals on Wheels service for vulnerable people. And they've established a sort of online community shop where people can pay £3 or £5, something like that, for essentials and get a lot more than that value, which is something that I think we'd like to look at over this side as well, because it's a way of restoring people's dignity and really trying to encourage people as much as possible to be responsible for their own lives, but still maintaining that support, which obviously is very much needed. Obviously, the Hope Centres themselves have been closed, where we offer community support, where we offer various courses to help people address underlying issues. And obviously, because of the lockdown, we've had to close those. And they're still closed, although we've been able to establish an online session, which is on a Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. If anybody wants to access that, let us know. And we're continuing to keep in contact with clients over the phone as much as we can, just to offer them that support. You know, obviously isolation is difficult, particularly for anybody with mental health or emotional problems. But for the most part, people that we're in contact with seem to be holding up quite well, which is great. We've run a number of CAP money courses online over the last 2 or 3 months, which have been variably attended. Only a handful of people overall have probably accessed that, which is another reason why we'd really love to get some face-to-face meetings going again, because people seem to be a lot more able to access or ready to access this kind of thing if it's face-to-face. I'm also looking at running a Fresh Start course, which is helping people deal with life controlling habits and dependencies. Again, at the moment, that would probably have to be online. So we'll continue with that kind of thing. What you might remember is that as we went into lockdown, we had just taken on a job club manager, Karen Wire, and she was due to have her training at HQ in Bradford the week we went into lockdown. So of course that wasn't able to go ahead. But the good news there is that she's actually engaging now with a new online training which CAP have developed. So she will be fully trained in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and hopefully we'll be in a position to launch the job club proper, as it were.
So tell me what that will be offering, Robert.
So the job club itself, as well as just offering support, it also includes an 8-week course which deals with all sorts of areas of employment. So from one of the things we're trying to do is build people's confidence. So we're helping people identify their own attributes, their own skills, things that they might not even ever have thought of as something that an employer would be interested in. But you know, people who are caring for other people, people who are volunteering doing various things, they've picked up skills, and those skills are very, very valuable to employers. So we start with that kind of thing, trying to identify the great things in people, identifying the treasure, if you like, in people, and drawing that out and making them more aware of it, so that they can then project those attributes to employers. So we move on to things like CV writing, really good sessions on CV writing and writing cover letters, so that people can learn to tailor their CV to a particular job that they're applying for, and even up to thriving in work. You know, what makes an employee a valuable asset to the team, so that they don't just get the job, they actually enjoy that job and fulfill a role that they actually value themselves in, and you know, they're valued by the rest of the team. So that's a very exciting prospect going forward.
So there's a lot happening, not just the food bank, but other things happening still. Obviously, it's been restricted by what's happening nationally, as many things have been, but things are still going on. Let's just look forwards, because I know you've got some exciting plans and hopes for what we'll do as a charity. Obviously, it's all dependent on what this next year sort of brings as to how far we can get with it. But tell us a little bit about the vision and what we hope to get started there.
Yeah. So, well, for me, the most exciting prospect going forward is the project to open a CAP Debt Centre, which is a core service that CAP was founded on, and has built a reputation over the years as the most excellent debt service available in the UK. I was just looking a while back at a visit by Martin Lewis to CAP head office. He was addressing all the staff there, and he made the point that there are other debt services out there that are wonderful at what they do, but he said that for people with mental health issues, and the majority of people dealing with debt have mental health issues, then the CAP service is absolutely second to none.
Wow.
And the reason for that, I believe, is, though Martin Lewis may not be fully aware of that, is because CAP only work through the local church, and so a huge part of their service is delivered by the debt centre manager and volunteers working with that debt centre manager, who actually pray for people who take an interest in their lives, who actually care about them, and not just for the time that they're visiting them or having at the moment an online interview with somebody. They actually go away and continue to care about them, continue to pray for them, invite them along to social events that the churches are putting on, and ultimately we hope, and this happens on many occasions, introducing them to Jesus, who, as we all know, is the biggest life transformer that there ever is or ever will be. So yeah, it's an incredible potential that we can lock into, because one thing we know going forward is that debt is going to be an increasing problem. it's pretty pandemic. It was pretty pandemic before the crisis, and in the aftermath of that crisis, as John Kirkby, the founder of CAP, puts it, there is going to be a tsunami of need in this area. So that's a really exciting prospect.
But so just very briefly, I mean, a debt centre, how does it kind of function? What if somebody was in debt, and I know it's not going yet, but if we do get this going, if somebody was in debt and came for help, what would be the process?
Okay, so the process, however that person finds out about us as a CAP debt centre, either through going to the CAP website and putting in their details and say, you know, I'm in trouble, that referral would come to us. It could come through the local church, of course. It could come from somebody just phoning our phone line or emailing us directly. Then what happens is that as the debt centre manager would then contact that person and arrange to meet them either face to face, or obviously currently this is generally being done online, to gather information as to where they're at in terms of their finances, how much debt they're in, what are the regular outgoings and incomings, and so on and so forth. And gathering that information, send that to CAP head office in Bradford, where fully trained experts look at those debts, look at the incomings and outgoings, create a workable budget for that individual or that family, and negotiate with creditors. And creditors listen, because CAP has got such a good reputation among the financial services industry, that they are, when they say to a creditor, this is what the client can afford, generally the creditor will accept that, because they have experience with CAP, and they know that when CAP say something, generally they can deliver it. So that budget is then taken back to the client through the debt centre manager or the volunteers that are working with them, and the client then decides whether they're going to go with this or not. If they go with it, then they would pay a certain amount set in the budget to CAP, who then distribute it among the creditors. So on a monthly basis, they would pay into CAP. CAP would distribute it among their creditors, taking no fee themselves. And from the point that somebody decides to work with CAP, all they need to do, if a creditor ever gets in touch with them, is say, I'm sorry, I'm working with CAP now, you're going to have to speak to them directly. And all that pressure, which is ongoing for anybody who's in debt, day after day, dreading a knock on the door or a phone call, whatever, just under incredible stress, which leads many people to either think about or even actively attempt suicide. That pressure is lifted.
Yeah.
And, you know, CAP just take it on themselves.
So I can see that's enormously important work, and we haven't quite got that going yet. So, I mean, what do we need to do to get that happening?
Well, the biggest thing we need to do is identify a passionate Christian who is also a compassionate Christian with a heart for the needy and the marginalised in our communities, to take on board this role of a debt centre manager. Now, when we identify that person, they'll get full training from CAP. They'll get support from me and from our team of staff and volunteers, and also from CAP through an area manager who will be there to support them as well. So there's loads of support for that person. But the main attributes of that person is that they're a passionate Christian, that they have a heart for the lost and the needy. And that they are prepared to put in the commitment, something like 16 hours a week for whatever it is. I can never remember how many weeks a year anybody works these days.
But you can find out more by talking to you. I mean, that's a great little summary. And can they just contact you directly, Robert?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
contact me in the first instance, robert@hopecentral.org.uk, or they can phone me 07957813360. I will be all ears.
So there's no commitment. If they phone you, they just want to find out more. But
of course.
Hopefully this video will go out to a lot of people, and we might get someone contacting you. So that sounds so important and so exciting for a vision for another big step for Hope Central. It's wonderful. We're out of time, I'm afraid, but it's been really, really great to hear the news and chat to you, Robert. We want to help. Just in a minute, tell us how we can help as individuals, how we can help as churches. What can we do?
Yeah. Well, the main thing is to pray. We're aware that this is entirely a God enterprise, and without Him at the centre of it, without Him guiding us, empowering us, then everything we do is for nothing. So please, please pray for us. Pray that the Lord of the harvest will send forth labourers into the harvest, and then listen to when He calls you. So there are volunteering opportunities going forward. We're particularly looking for that debt centre manager, which would be really, really wonderful. But of course, it all takes money as well. We love to receive food donations. So we're looking at, harvest time. Food donations are always helpful, and obviously that's an ongoing need all the time. But it's great at harvest time. We often get a big influx that helps us and sort of propels us towards Christmas as well. But also money, and I've got to commend St. Chad's and the individuals of St. Chad, the members of St. Chad's, because they're you are an incredibly generous church. You're incredibly generous people. But if anybody's considering the possibility of supporting us financially at the moment, I'll refer to the Archbishop of Canterbury, who I heard being interviewed by John Kirkby, who's the founder of CAP, just a day or two ago. And he likened what CAP does to manufacturing a vaccine against the economic impacts of COVID-19 under license from God. And he was saying to any potential supporters, give them the resources to manufacture more of this vaccine. And I guess because we're part of that CAP family in a lot of what we're doing, particularly with this debt centre initiative, we can be included in that. I believe what we're about is providing vaccine against economic disaster, against economic illness, but also therapeutic medicines for when people are financially sick, but not even just financially sick, emotionally sick, mentally sick, spiritually sick. We are in the business of manufacturing therapeutic medicines to bring them back to health.
Brilliant.
And what more can I say?
Thanks, Robert. Thanks for your time, and hopefully we'll get some people interested to do this.
Absolutely.
Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.